Welcome to Rock Your Talk. I'm Leisa Reid, your host. I'm here with our lovely guest, Toni Caruso. Hello, Toni.
Hello.
So excited you're here. Toni and I go way back, and she's going to share some tips about how to get on people, like how do you build your business by getting on people's stages or creating your own stage. So stay tuned for that. Some really good stuff for speakers out there. And I do have a couple of gifts for you as our audience member. As you know, I'm the founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now. I help speakers get booked, stay booked, and attract their clients through speaking. It's super fun. And if that's something that resonates for you, you can go get the 5 top tips to get more speaking gigs now at GetSpeakingGigsNow.com. Now, you might not be a speaker, but you also might be a person who's really like, gosh, I know how powerful my thoughts are, but I'm not seeing any changes in my results. And if that is you, then I would direct you to productivelearning.com/gift, because at Productive Learning, I'm a trainer there. And what we do is we really help people figure out those thoughts. You know, how do I shift my thinking? If my thinking is so important, how do I grab a hold of it and actually translate that into results? And we created a new course called New Thinking for New Actions. It's free for you as a listener of our show. Remember to subscribe, and you can just get it on on productivelearning.com/gift. So a couple of really great tips for you and gifts. And I know Toni's got some gifts for you too. So this is like a bonus, awesome, super cool episode today. You are in luck. But before we even get started with that, Toni, tell the audience a little bit about you. Like, you run events, but like, tell us about who you are. Who is Toni Caruso?
It's Toni Caruso. Where did she come from?
Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, I am a live event producer. Live being the optimum word, which we don't do anymore. So I am now a virtual event producer. I have had to learn to change and pivot, so they say, in my business, which is great. It's wonderful, but I love being live and in a room with a lot of energy and a lot of excitement, and I love to be around people. So this has been a little bit hard for me. I am an extrovert, and so the Zoom world is, it's wonderful, and it's great that we have it. I must say, if we didn't, then I don't know what I would do. But when you are someone who loves that live feel and that's your life, this has been tough for me. I'm just going to be honest. But I have been doing events ever since I was 16, and I started doing my own birthday parties. And then I did the school dances. And then I did my girlfriends. Every one of my girlfriends had amazing surprise parties. I never did because they couldn't surprise me.
One day.
So it just kind of morphed into, I have a degree in communications and public relations. I did PR for a while. I worked for Tina Turner for a while. I've had all kinds of amazing jobs. But in the end, every part of those jobs that I loved was doing the events, whether it be a holiday party or a movie premiere. I love that part of it. So when I became a stay-at-home mom and I got tired of being PTA president, I decided to open my own company and start doing events for authors, speakers, and coaches, and to get them up on stage to share their message and to do it right so that they can not only be thought of as an expert and an authority, but also make money at the same time.
Yeah, and that's where it's neat, because we see both, kind of the different sides of the coin for speakers. Like, as a speaker, there's so many things to learn. A lot of times, I know we've talked about this in the past, but a lot of times the speakers, all they're concerned about as a beginner is just the actual talk. And I'm like, oh, that's just like one little teensy part of the whole enchilada. Like, it's just like one bite of the enchilada. And so it's important, but there's all this other pieces. And so with your experience of doing all these live events, seeing so many speakers bomb and succeed, and somewhere in the middle, you're able to really, offer a different perspective than most people would, because most people haven't seen as many live events as you have.
Right, and you're sitting in the back of the room and you have to sit and listen to them.
Yep.
But the key point is I also have to work with them. So how do they work with me in the weeks prior tells a lot about how they're going to be on the stage, and do I want to work with them again?
Right.
You could be an amazing speaker on the stage and you could just rock it out. But if you're a pain in the butt to work with for weeks ahead of time, and you don't get me what I need, and you're not communicating, and you just kind of show up and expect everything to happen, you're just one cog in an event. So you have to think that it's not about you. It's not about you being on that stage. It's about the audience and the experience and what you're bringing to the room.
100%. Yeah. And I know, yes, agree. And I know you're going to share some tips on how to build your business through using your own stage or other people's stages. So I want to make sure our audience gets your tips too. So what's your first tip for that?
Oh, tip number one. So I believe you should have your own events, and that scares a lot of people.
Sure.
But you should be on your own stage and in front of your own community, whether it's 20 people, 25 people, 30 people, it doesn't matter. The room size is not important. It's you getting on that stage and honing your skills so that when you do get the opportunity to be on bigger stages, you're ready. But here's the key and here's the secret. If you can get 50 people in a room consistently, you're going to have bigger speakers wanting you to get them on your stage. So in other words, I have an event, it's got 50 people in it. It was called the Women's Business Boot Camp. And all of a sudden, people wanted to be on my stage. Because they wanted to be on my stage, I said, hey, I'd love to have you. You have an event too, correct? Let's swap stages.
Right.
So they get in front of my 50 people, I get in front of their 250 people.
Right.
So it's a way of building your business, because when those big speakers want to come and be on your stage, it's a negotiation, and you then get to be on their stages. So that gets you onto those bigger stages.
Right. It's kind of a leverage and looking at it beyond just your own event. And I really appreciate that. Remember, so yeah, that's like the talk is one bite of the enchilada. And then the other bite of the enchilada is how you show up, and do you get your stuff in, and are you reliable, and are you there on time, and are you, not being self-centered? And then the other bite that you were just talking about is, okay, so then thinking ahead, like if I wanted to grow bigger, how can I be like a big fish in a small pond, so then I can start to become a little fish in a bigger pond, and then maybe, be a big fish in the big pond. It's like kind of exciting.
It's like my client, Craig Deswalt, was big in Santa Clarita Valley. He had an advertising agency. He was a big deal there and had a huge community. His first event had 250 people at it. That's unheard of. Doesn't happen. But he just had that kind of charisma. He could fill the room. He fills the room, and then all these big speakers start saying,
knocking on the door.
I want to be on your stage.
Yeah.
He went from a 250 person room to a 10,000 person room. It's just leverage.
Yeah, 100%. And I also like your encouragement of starting your own event. I think sometimes, especially, actually, honestly, now more than ever, holy smokes, there is no reason not to have your own event, because you can, I spoke at an event, and it was like in April, I think. And the gentleman had started it just due to COVID. He's like, I want to network. So these are the people I want to be around. So I'm just going to start my own thing. And he started his event during sheltering in place. And it was, he just did it. And that was it. You need a Zoom account and a computer. I mean, hopefully there's something to offer as well, but I mean, it's easier now more than ever to do that.
Well, and it's easier now to speak on those Zoom meetings because, for instance, people don't have to travel. They don't have to have a hotel. There's none of that expense. So more people are willing to even pay to be on your virtual stage.
Yeah. I mean, because it's valuable. It's valuable. Your efforts to fill that room is super valuable.
Exactly.
And so what's your second tip? I'm like on the edge of my seat here because I'm like, oh, it's going to be a good one.
Number two. So it's really important you're clear on your audience. Who's your audience avatar? Know who your client avatar is, but who's your audience avatar? Who do you want to get in front of? Are they millennials? Are they empty nesters? Are they business people? Is it corporate C-suites? Or is it the entrepreneur? Be very clear, and don't spend your time speaking on stages in front of people that are not your audience.
Right.
Number one, you're wasting your time. And people say, oh, it's great practice. You should practice anytime you can get on a stage. Well, no, because if your message doesn't resonate with your audience, you're not going to get the testimonials. You're not going to get the feedback. People aren't going to refer you out to speak on other stages like, yeah, she wasn't right for our group. It wasn't right. It wasn't the right feel. The talk will go off wrong if it is wrong. Like I have had people on a stage and they start talking and it's like, what are you talking about? number one, that wasn't what I hired you for. It's a totally different subject.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, it has nothing to do with the people that are in the room. And it just turns the whole room off. Whether virtual or live, you're going to turn your audience off. And when it's virtual, all they have to do is turn their computer off.
Right.
They don't even have to worry about, ooh, I got to walk out of the room and people will see me. No, they just turn off their little camera and they walk out and they have lunch and a drink in the other room, whatever. But
yeah, definitely now more than ever, it's important to really engage that audience and be. And so I think what I like about what you said is being, well, you didn't say this word, but this what implied, like being in alignment with the event and the audience. And certainly if you've said you're going to be speaking on topic X, then if you're going to change it up, you better be talking to whoever's in charge so that they're not taken aback, right? Like you want to definitely make sure that that's agreed upon and we're all on the same page for sure.
Well, you know, and what if you are not a brick and mortar, and what are you doing speaking to the Chamber of Commerce? Now, Chamber of Commerce, everybody belongs to them. I get it. There's a lot of entrepreneurs, but it's more brick and mortar. If you are an entrepreneur, it depends on the city. Where I am, it's more brick and mortar.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. So, but if you are not someone who has something that has to do with entrepreneurs, you know, and you're in the e-women world, you know, that's a large entrepreneurial women focused place.
The E stands for entrepreneurial.
Yeah, exactly. You just kind of, you know, I don't want to like bash anybody or anything, but I've seen it, and I don't want to say names, but just be real clear, because, you know, you're wasting your time and their time having you on the stage. And a lot of times you're paying to be on stages. So, you know, if you're paying that money to be on the stage, make sure it's your audience.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of opinions about that. And then what I will say, here's one thing that I'll say that's a slight adjacent to what you're talking about. When you're a new speaker, what I tell people is don't have your first speaking engagement be your perfect ideal scenario. I'd be like, go to the groups where, you know, maybe it doesn't, you know, you're not really putting yourself at risk. Like these aren't your perfect clients, you know, just so you can get through the butterflies. You practice it in front of live people. It's still going to be relevant. You know, you don't just do something completely off base, but I do encourage newer speakers. And I mean, when I say newer, I mean, under 20 talks, sometimes I would say even under 100 talks, you're still learning. There's so many things that could go wrong that you cannot even anticipate. I've had people's hard drive explode, like literally right before their talk, and they're freaking out. I've had people so subconscious mind does weird things. I've had people literally erase their PowerPoint, like deleted forever. It's not in the recycle bin. It's nowhere. And I'm like, you're on in 5 minutes. What happened?
Well, that's why I always tell my speakers,
oh no,
send me your PowerPoint.
Yes.
That way I have it. Bring it on a thumb drive.
Smart.
You know, just
back up. I tell my clients that, yes.
If you are a Mac user, bring your laptop.
Yes.
There are, I would say 9 out of 10 audiovisual companies are not using Mac, they're using a PC.
Right.
So they might have a Mac there, but you have no idea times people come up with a keynote and you're like, I told you that's not compatible. And they're in the back trying to resave it in a PowerPoint, and all their
beautiful slides are gone.
Yeah, everything is like their words are off on the side, and they're sweating, and you know, just make it easy. Ask the question beforehand. What do you have? I have a keynote. Can I bring that? Of course, we have PowerPoint. We have a Mac, you know, or you know what? It's just be on the safe side. Save it as a PowerPoint. That works with everything. Yeah. Agreed. 1,000,000% stamped, signed, sealed, delivered. I teach that in my academy too. Like I literally show them a picture of the, a picture and an Amazon link to like, this is the adapter, and I don't get any money for it. I don't, you know, need to be an affiliate for that, but like, it's like, this is the adapter you must have if you are a Mac user. This is the adapter you must have if you're a PC user. Don't expect the venue to have it, to just have an HDMI cord laying around. They may not have one because people steal them unintentionally and intentionally. So you have to have that stuff with you. If you're planning, if your life depends on your PowerPoint, now that's a whole nother conversation. Like you can also like, you got to know your stuff.
and not be reliant on your PowerPoint. So there's like all these different ways to,
I have to say
yeah.
that Sherry Tree, we all know her from Bank Code, right?
Yep.
She spoke at eWomen, and she was one of the breakout sessions, and it was the first night, the first session. And for some reason, the AV wasn't working in the room.
It
and
happens.
every time they put up the slide, it would start to flicker.
Yeah, which you don't want that.
Take it off, and then they'd put it back on, and it got really distracting. And Sherry just goes, you know what, turn it off. I don't need it.
Right.
She did that entire presentation.
Yes.
No PowerPoint. That means she knew her speech. She knew what now, mind you, she's probably given it 17,000 times on stage, but a lot of people rely on that PowerPoint to be their outline.
Right.
You need to be able to speak to a blank wall, you know?
Yes. Preach on. See, Toni and I, we're going to go on, take the show on the road here. Yeah, what's tip 3? What's tip 3? Oh my gosh.
Oh, to not focus on selling on the stage. Getting on stages is not about making money. And everyone's like, wait a minute, that's how I'm supposed to build my business. Right? But let's say that you're going to speak on the stage. I would call up the production company or whoever's coordinating and say, hey, listen, when am I in the schedule? You're the 4th one on. Well, what time is that? Well, you're right before lunch. Okay. So the 3 people before me, are they selling from the stage? Yes, they are. Can you tell me what they're selling?
Price point, yeah.
Well, she's selling a $395. He's selling a $3,000. This one's selling a $10,000. Now, as an audience member, think about sitting in that room and being sold to over and over and over, and then you come up and maybe you are a killer speaker. Maybe everything you do is amazing and you can convert that room. Great. But what if you're not? And what if you are just kind of starting out and you come out and you go, well, wait a minute, my program's $997. Well, they might have already bought the $297. They might have bought the $3,000. Their thought process is going to be, wait a minute, I've already bought 2 things. Even if I have the money, I can't do 3 things. It's too much for me to do right now. Or they might say, ugh, I spend too much money. I don't have the money. Even though I'd really like to have that, I'll get that next time I see that person, right? Why not go up there and give something away? Just give it away for free and get those 250 emails sitting in the audience that nobody else is getting because they're converting 10 people over here, 25 over here, right? They are making money. Get 250 emails that you can just love on and nurture on, give them free gifts and get them into your funnel, right? And hopefully sell them down the line. So just ask the question. If no one has sold before you, by all means, if that's what you want to do, sell. But make sure that you know what the people are doing ahead of time, what's being done in the event. Are you the last one on the last day and they have now been sold to for 3 days? You know, just ask the question and figure it out and go in with a strategic plan.
Yeah, I agree with that strategic plan too. Like when I do, I have a section in the Academy that's it's called like Monetize Your Speaking, right? And I talk about creating a monetization menu, and that is for you on the behind the scenes. It's not something you would give the audience. The menu is like, okay, in this scenario, I can offer this. I'm going to pull this from my menu. Oh, in this scenario, I can offer this different price point thing or this free thing or whatever. And you've got to grab that way. You have the menu already created, you know, usually on a document or something. You have the products to back that up. And then you can decide, given the conversation that you have with someone like Toni, you can be like, okay, tell me a little bit about the event. Who are the speakers? Just like you said, I love that. And where does that fit into what my goals are? And how do I want to be strategic about it? How do I want to leverage this opportunity? And what's the best for the whole thing? Win-win-win situation. Like who's the audience, the people putting the event on, you as the speaker, you want to ideally make it a win-win-win. I know you and I did that when you had your summer speaker summer school, and I think I was the last speaker, and it was like, okay, I know what I'm going to be doing.
Exactly.
Last speaker, end of the day. Yeah.
And now when I do the back to school for speakers, I don't even allow everyone to sell. We do one package at the end, and it's a combined package.
There you go.
So everybody gets a piece of it. So
Beautiful.
it's just a different feel. So it just depends. So just do your homework and ask the questions. And also understand that you have some negotiating power. Do you get a table in the back of the room?
Mm-hmm.
You want a table, send people to your table. That's where you can talk to them more.
Mm-hmm.
Stay at your event. This is another tip. I'm going to 4 tips.
There are like 25 tips in this.
Right.
Whoever's listening to this
I
episode
could go for hours, but my biggest thing is I don't like it when a speaker walks in 10 minutes before they speak. They get mic'd up, they go on the stage, they speak, they go in the back of the room, they sell some things for 15, 20 minutes, and then they leave.
Right.
When you make your money and where you sell your programs is in the bathroom, is in the bar, is during lunch, is in the hallway. I see speakers that show up in the beginning and they're not even going on until the end. And they are there the whole time.
Yep.
And I tell you, they knock it out of the park. Because number one, they've got to know the audience. They get up on the stage on the last day and they start saying, you know what, I met Leisa and she teaches speakers how to get more gigs. And I thought it was great. And in our conversation, that makes them part of the audience and part of the group. So it's a really great way to relate to the audience. But you really make your deals and most of your money is when you're not on stage and we're just having those conversations.
Absolutely. Yep. I think it's official. Toni and I are going to take this on the road.
I would love to.
I like, love it. We're like, we are so on the same page. I tell my speakers that too. I'm like, you plan to get there. I want to be ready before I don't mind if the event planner is there and the people who are working the event and getting ready. I want to be ready before anybody walks in the door, meaning like, I don't want to be like reaching into my bag to get business cards or setting up a PowerPoint or my table or whatever's getting books out. No, I want that to be, when people arrive, I am ready to receive. I am ready to greet, talk, chat, connect, collaborate, have fun. Also gives you an opportunity to have a little cushion if something does go wrong, because those things happen too. And it's a win-win. Your anxiety, like I'm all about like, what do we need to do to get the speaker's anxiety down so that you're ready and present as a speaker too? And if you're hustling around trying to scramble in your traffic and you come in and you're all like, that's
and parking, and then you're
all of it.
I love the speakers when the event has started and they're rolling in their little rollaway thing with all their boxes.
Oh my God.
It is a bad taste in the event planner's mouth to have any open tables with nothing on them. I mean, we will literally take the table out and sorry, you lost out. Well, I paid for that. Well, you were told that you had to have it set by 8 o'clock in the morning and you're here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Or like you're tearing down before the event's over with. That's another thing that makes us upset. But then I was just thinking, getting there early is really smart because then you get to see the backdrop. Let's say you love blue and that's your thing. My color's red, You go and you walk up on stage and you look there and you go, oh my God, the whole backdrop is the same color as my dress. I'm getting videotaped.
Disappear in there, yeah.
I better bring another outfit.
Yes.
So always have a backup outfit handy,
And backup shoes too. I'm telling you, whoever's listening to this episode is getting like 77 tips. Because like, if you're there all day as women, we could be in high heels, even just changing a different, like a black pumps to black pumps, even if it's like, this is back
lower heel, whatever.
We're going to be able to be in a room again, but that can make a difference for your feet because it's really hard to sell when your feet are in pain, so you want to be, like I always have a backup pair of shoes in my car, or my bag or whatever. And so these little, so again, back to our enchilada metaphor, it's true. Like the talk is just a little part. It's an important part, but there's all these other things that happen when you're really building your business through speaking. So that was such a fun conversation because we're like, yeah. And I mean, I've spoken at some of events Toni has created, and I feel I showed up. Hopefully I showed up I'm on the A list of the Toni Caruso checklist.
I keep asking you back, don't I? So everything was good.
But you never know. Like you never
know.
Yeah. So I have one more question for you, and this is gonna be fun because I know a little bit about you from the past. But the show's called Rock Your Talk. So who is your favorite rock star, rock band? What's like your go-to big favorite one?
That's tough because I'm not a rock band kind of girl. I'm a disco kind of girl.
That's fine.
So I love me some good Michael Jackson.
Well, he's pop.
But like You should be dancing.
Yeah, Bee Gees and
Yeah, I love
Nice.
any. I used to be the one where, woo, get up on the dance floor, and I'd start everybody, and we'd do the hustle, and they'd all follow me. And I was a dancer, so I love anything that gets you moving. But if
That's
you were to
fun.
say right now, what do I listen to? I must say that I listen to a lot of oldies. I listen to a lot of Lionel Richie. I listen to Michael Bublé.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Manilow. I
Oh,
mean, I'm
fun.
just like, yeah, I'm
Wide
pretty
range.
mellow. And then on the other end, it's country.
Oh, how fun. I didn't know that
Yeah,
about you. I didn't know you like country. How cool.
yeah, a little bit of
A
everything
little bit of
here.
everything. I love it. Well,
Heavy metal.
yeah. And then I was going to tell you, oh, you don't like heavy metal?
No, I'm not a big heavy metal fan.
Okay. Not even Metallica. No, no.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, now we know. I love Lionel Richie too. So, and I love disco. So I forgot to ask you, because I know you have some resources for speakers. Where can they find that information?
All right, you can go to my website. It's Caruso, Caruso, signature events with an S.com. Join my VIP group. It's free. You just opt in.
I'm going to
And
join. I didn't even know if she had it. I'm doing it.
you get a full, it's a VIP page. I call it my VIP membership page. And I have tons of free downloads. I've got opportunities for a workbook if you want to do your own events. I've got the speaker's toolkit in there. A lot of things that you can just download and look at and peruse. And then I add things all the time. So, and I have the 10 tips of things you need to know when you're doing virtual events, you know.
Awesome.
And you set yourself up and show up right on a virtual call.
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah, because we could use all the support we can as we move through this new, whatever this new thing is. And I don't think virtual events are going to go away, even when we're going to be able to be back in person. We're still going to do things virtually because now we're used to that. So we've all gotten some new skills. Awesome. Well, thank you, Toni. You're amazing as usual.
Thank you.
And for those of you listening, remember to subscribe and remember to do something kind for yourself today and for somebody else. I know you're going to do that. And I will see you next time on our next episode.